Hey Microsoft, this ain't it. Yeah, I don't know what Microsoft is thinking with this, but I can understand why people are reacting the way that they are towards it. And I think Microsoft can do something to sort of correct this course and get people back on board. Like, listen, Microsoft has already unraveled pretty much all the goodwill that they've done with that they've had with fans and things like that, and that's not a joke, that's no lie, there's no BS with that. Microsoft don't kid yourself, Microsoft had a lot of negativity surrounding the brand and things like that, but with that being said, they also managed to kind of come back from that to a certain extent, and now they've basically kind of killed all of that goodwill that they actually did manage to kind of get. And again, it's going to be hard to really kind of come back from that. I don't think they can, but I want to get into it. Hey, I'm Crap Gamer. This is, of course, Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I do daily gaming content. I try to be fun yet informative, so hey, if you like what you hear, stick around. Again, I saw this and I don't like where this is heading, right? Where the industry is already kind of in flux, and now we've got this kind of stuff going on. Microsoft showed off a Quake 2 AI experiment, and there's a ton of negative reactions around this, as they should be, to be honest with you. I'm kind of torn on AI. I think it has some place in different things, but at the same point in time, I think when it comes to like gaming in general, that I don't know what good it could do. Like, unless it's to aid developers, I don't think it should be used to cut back on developers or anything like that. So there is that to kind of look at too as well. The Quake 2 tech demo is powered by Microsoft's new video game generative AI model, Muse, which it says can generate game visuals, controller actions, or both. They launched the Quake 2 demo, which can be played via a web browser on Microsoft's website to show off the capabilities of Muse, but insisted that it does not, quote, intend for this to fully replicate the actual experience of playing the original Quake 2. Here's my problem with it, that you had developers pour blood, sweat, and tears into Quake 2. A lot of time, a lot of, probably late nights, missing family, kids, all that kind of stuff. And now you have this, like, AI just like replicating it on the fly. To me, AI, when it makes stuff like this, is just basically ripping things off. So I get that Microsoft owns Quake, so they can do what they want with the IP, but imagine if people were using this kind of stuff on stuff they didn't own. And plus, I have to say, what we're seeing looks pretty terrible, just in my opinion. I get that it could look better, but I don't see where this can lead to any place good. They launched it, like I said, which can be played through the web. Microsoft adds that whilst we feel it is incredibly fun to play a simulated version of the game inside the model, there are, of course, limitations and shortcomings of our current approach. It notes that interactions with enemies need to be improved since they will often appear fuzzy, and that because its current context length is 0.9 seconds of gameplay, 9 frames at 10 frames per second, it will forget about objects that go out of view for longer times than this. While there is some acknowledgement of the technical achievement behind the demo, many social media users have reacted negatively, with a significant number of replies on X on a post by Game Awards producer Jeff Keighley criticizing its use of generative AI. Even Tim Sweeney, he posted a meme that says much game, very Quake. Listen, I think that like this stuff is obviously going to have a place, and people want it to be something, I guess. But for me, I don't know. It just seems really bad. Anyway, it says, we made a program vaguely and inaccurately imagines what it might look like if you were playing Quake 2 right now. It requires all the same equipment you could instead use to actually play Quake 2, but requires a billion times more electricity. This is absolutely disgusting. It spits on the work of every developer everywhere, reads another reply. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has said it's planning to have a catalog of video games utilize its new generative AI mode. Commented on Muse in February, Nadella compared it to the World of Warcraft movement. He said that he felt when he first saw other generative AI models, such as ChatGPT. Like in most creative industries, generative AI has become a hot topic in video games, with many voicing concerns about generative AI leading to job losses and widespread plagiarism, as I said earlier. Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick recently said that not only does he think AI won't lead to job losses, he believes it could lead to increased employment. He also said that he couldn't think of any new guardrails that might be required to protect developers themselves. Speaking to VGC Split Fiction and It Takes Two director Joseph Fares, he said that he thinks developers should work with AI rather than pushed against it, and called it both scary and very exciting. So again, I look at this and I think it looks putrid, to be quite honest. Yeah, I can see why people aren't like on board with this at all. And again, we all can only just hope for changes and things like that. We like the industry is changing, but it's like, man, we are really maybe going a little bit too far down this rabbit hole. We're literally seeing thousands upon thousands of people laid off their jobs right now in the gaming industry, and I know some of that is self kind of inflicted. Because a lot of developers nowadays are just like, hey, let's force this agenda, or let's do this, or let's do that, and that's not what people are looking for. And so again, when we see stuff like this pop up, I think that you have to ask the tough questions and just say, even if you're a Microsoft fan or a fanboy, just looking at this and saying, this is not the slickest stuff. You know what I mean? Like, this is probably not stuff that should be out there in the world, in my opinion. I don't know. It just feels kind of wrong when you look at this stuff and you're kind of seeing how this stuff is kind of being used, and and it looks kind of bad. Like I hate to be that guy, but yeah, it does look pretty bad. And what can they do? What can these companies do at this particular point? It's like everybody knows that there's a lot of change happening in the industry, and we'll have to see if it's something that continues to happen, or if it's something that it can be controlled in a proper way. I don't know. It's just like, it feels like Pandora's box. Honestly, once the genie's out of the bottle, it's going to be very difficult to kind of contain it, and that's going to be a big problem kind of going forward. I think it's just, how do you kind of get this, how do you make this into something that people are okay with, or how, like, oh, we're going to have an entire game catalog using this stuff. Like, who would want to really game that way? I don't really know many people that are just going to be like, oh man, I can't wait to play some knockoff at-home version of Quake 2 or whatever the case may be. I don't see it. Again, you guys might think differently than me. Maybe you don't look at this as a negative thing. For me, I can't look at this as anything great. It just doesn't feel right to me. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on it, though, because I feel like this could be one of those things where some people could possibly defend it, or some people can look at this as something not so bad, or as an aid to helping games. Like, I could see AI as in, like, okay, well, create a forest of trees, or create this, or create a texture, or do the lay roadways or whatever. I could see AI helping with that, possibly, but wouldn't even that take away job from like artists and stuff that are actually working in video games? I don't know. Like, it's such a weird thing to kind of look at. I hope that we get some kind of answer soon, but again, I'm not exactly holding my breath, and I think anything can pretty much happen. But again, it's sort of strange to see. I'm not one of those people that's all enamored by the AI and all this kind of stuff. To me, it's kind of a scary situation, and we'll see how it works out. Anything can happen. Let me know what you guys think. I will, of course, link this. You guys can check it out. Let me know. We'll see what happens long term, and if it's something that Microsoft will continue to push, or they'll just let it go by the wayside. Something tells me they probably won't do that. Thank you so much for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. I'll catch you next time. Crap Gamer out.